All right, let's face it. Whenever you mention homeschooling to those who don't homeschool or they know little about it, there's a certain stereotype that seems to pop in their minds. You know, the kid that's kind of awkward, shy, and slightly out of place. I find this kind of ironic since if you walk down the crowded corridors of any public school, you're going to find countless students who are awkward, shy, and look slightly out of place. You know, I've been in enough schools to confidently say that this is much more the norm in public schools than it is for homeschooled kids. You know what? Along with that conversation, there's usually this question that follows about socialization. Actually, it's not so much of a question as it is an assumption. It's generally assumed that kids who are educated at home, well, they aren't properly socialized. So whenever another well-meaning parent touches on the subject with me, I typically ask one simple question. What do you mean by socialized? You see, the term socialized, at least when applied to children and teenagers, it usually implies that a kid doesn't act any different than his or her peers and can generally have interactions with others without appearing uncomfortable or awkward. So in other words, they don't look weird. All right, that's a completely ridiculous notion. Sure, we want our kids to be able to interact with other kids and adults, but to measure a child's level of socialization based on some subjective measure on how well they fit in with other kids, it's really unfair. And let's face it, it's just plain silly. Again, our public schools are filled with kids who don't appear to quite fit in. I mean, they're kids after all. So let's take the idea of socialization to a deeper level. I think it's safe to say that characteristics such as conflict resolution, appropriate behavior, sensitivity, and tolerance, well, they're often associated with someone who has good social skills. And isn't that what we want for our own kids? Whether they're homeschooled or otherwise, we want them to be good people. So when a person suggests that homeschool kids may not be as well socialized as their public school counterparts, they're basically saying that the best environment for a child to learn things like conflict resolution and appropriate behavior and all that is a place where they can be surrounded by other kids. All right, let's think about that for a moment. They're saying that through constant interaction with other inexperienced and relatively immature children, a kid will somehow learn proper social skills. I mean, really? Or does it seem far more reasonable to believe that these skills could be taught and exemplified by adults who presumably have already acquired them, along with the knowledge and maturity to convey them? See, while being around classmates may give kids the opportunity to put into practice, those social skills that they're learning and being encouraged to use, it's quite another thing to somehow believe that it's through peer interaction alone that kids actually learn them. Of course, to that point, someone might say to me or suggest that, while it's true that social skills should be taught and exemplified by responsible adults, homeschool children just don't have the opportunity to interact with other kids, and therefore, that they can't put those social skills into practice. All right, that simply isn't true. In fact, given the growing opportunity of homeschooling, there are countless opportunities for homeschool kids to have regular interaction with other kids, whether that's through sports, teams, clubs, homeschooling associations, homeschooling clubs. The list goes on and on. There's plenty of opportunities. Actually, when it comes to socialization, I think it seems that homeschool kids may have a distinct advantage. First, the skills are taught, the social skills are taught through one-on-one interaction with an adult. That's presumably the parents. Second, homeschool children, they might have even more opportunities to develop those social skills because they interact with a lot of different people in a lot of different environments. And you know what? Finally, their behavior and response to different social situations, well, parents can really closely monitor that and quickly correct their kids. This kind of direct and immediate feedback, just doesn't happen in the average school. Teachers and admin, they have to react to unacceptable behavior, but they can't provide and rarely provide, consistent ongoing guidance in this area. So look, I am not suggesting for a second that kids who attend a regular school can't learn proper and valuable social skills. Through my work and community coaching, I interact with hundreds of high school students. And you know what? They're great kids to be around. So here's my point. All the things that make up positive social skills are best taught by parents, regardless of whether their kids are homeschooled or otherwise. In the end, the question of whether or not a homeschool kid can be properly socialized, you know what? It's really just a red herring. All right, thanks for watching. I'm Marc Lapointe. We'll see you next time.